Hey, welcome back. Simon Lees here again. I'm going to do a pro guitar tip for you. This is a response to Richard Lund's question about if you have to detune all the strings by 2 frets, otherwise known as D standard. So it's all the strings. You'll be able to play all your normal open chords, bar chords, everything will be kind of the same. It'll just sound lower, you know. So another way of thinking of it, it's Jimi Hendrix, Guns N' Roses, lots of other bands, they tend to tune to E flat standard. This is one more fret, if you like. So this is going really low. The way I'm going to do it, it's without using a tuner. I mean, I've got my strings in tune, and I've used a tuner to do that, just to make sure they're absolutely spot on. But the way this works is, I think I did a video on drop D tuning a while back. And I'm going to start off exactly the same way by playing the open D string and comparing that to a harmonic on the 12th fret of the fat E string. To start off with, they're going to sound like different notes. So what I'm going to have to do is to loosen the fat E string until the harmonic on the 12th fret sounds the same as the open D string. So that's the starting point. So I play the open D. And I play the harmonic on the 12th fret, and I'm going to play them at the same time, get them ringing together so I can hear. When I make the adjustment, I'll be able to hear the adjustment as it's working rather than trying to guess, you know. So when you're tuning, you don't play the strings one at a time, you play 2 together. Torturing it, listening to someone else tune the guitar. So that's the drop D. If I play an open D chord now, you know, I can hit the fat E string and it sounds awesome, sounds great. Now the fat E string is tuned to D now. I'm going to tune 2 other strings to the fat E, and the way I'm going to do that is using a harmonic on the fat E on the 5th fret. If I compare that with a 7th fret harmonic on the A string, I want to get the A string to sound the same as the E string. So before I start, the A string is going to be higher. I can show you. So 5th fret on the fat E, 7th fret on the A string. So it's like, you know, the A string's higher. So I'm going to loosen the A string until that 7th fret harmonic sounds the same as the 5th fret harmonic on the fat E. If I go too far, this happens. Oops, not that. Hang on. You can hear those like whoa, 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 whoa. You know, you can hear that wavery kind of sound gets worse as you're getting close to being in tune. Those wobbly bits kind of slow down, you know, and until eventually they disappear and you just get like a smooth sound. So you've always got to remember which string is in tune, you know, and which one you're trying to adjust. So the fat E is in tune and I'm trying to adjust the A string. Now you notice I've got distortion on. I find that helps. It makes it easier. It makes the strings ring out for longer, louder for longer anyway. And I don't know, I just think it makes the tuning thing a bit easier. So, right, now I mentioned I'm going to tune another string to sound the same as the fat E. And what it is, I'm going to play the same harmonic on the fat E string on the 5th fret, and I want to tune the thin E, the open thin E, to sound the same as that. So again, because obviously the tuning that we're going for is lower than the standard tuning, all the adjustments are loosening the strings, you know, so they're all kind of going the same way. So 5th fret on the fat E, open thin E, so that's pretty good. So there's only 3 strings left. And to tune those, I'm going to use harmonics again on the 5th fret and on the 7th fret. So now the A string's in tune, I'm going to play a 5th fret harmonic on the A string, and I need to adjust the D string so that if I play a 7th fret harmonic on the D, it's going to sound the same as the 5th fret harmonic on the A. So if I play the A first, and then the 7th fret on the D, you can hear it's like boop, boop. You know, like the D's higher, so I've got to loosen the D string off. Oops. When you're doing this, don't mess around, you know, don't sort of just turn the tuner sort of tentatively thinking, oh, I don't want to go too far. Most of the strings you're going to have to give it a good half a turn, you know, so you know, don't be afraid to turn the tuner. Just try and get rid of all that kind of wobbly, wavery sound. That's pretty close. Now that the D string's in tune, I'm going to play a 5th fret harmonic on that string, on the D string, and I want to get a 7th fret harmonic on the G to sound the same. So again, if I play the 5th fret on the D, and then 7th fret on the G sounds higher at the moment. It's like, you know, so you can tell it's just a little bit higher. So I've got to loosen the G string until the 7th fret harmonic on that string sounds the same as the 5th fret harmonic on the D. Let's try it again. I want to try and get the 2 strings playing at the same time. Okay, we've got one more string left, and it's the elephant in the room. There's a couple of ways you can do this, but I find if there are any kind of discrepancies when you're tuning from one string to the next string, and then you use the next string as a reference for the string after that, and then that string becomes the reference for the next one, it can get a bit like Chinese whispers, you know, so by the time you get to the last string, you're kind of way out. So I'm going to go back to the fat E string, and I'm going to play a 7th fret harmonic on the fat E string, because I've used that for the datum, if you like, for 2 of the other strings. So now I'm going to use it for the B string. So a 7th fret harmonic on the fat E should sound the same as the open B, sorry. So you can hear the fat E is ooh, and the B is ooh. So I'm going to loosen the B until it sounds the same as that 7th fret harmonic on the fat E. Right, so that's all the strings done. Now, is it going to be in tune? Let's find out. It's not too bad. Sometimes, I mean, if I check that with a tuner, with a chromatic tuner, one that recognises all the notes in the musical alphabet, which I recommend you get if you haven't already got one, you might find that they're slightly out, because it's quite a big change in tension on the neck. And what happens is, when you loosen one of the strings by 2 frets worth, the neck tends to sit back slightly, and what happens is that pulls all the other strings slightly sharp, and so now all the strings have been detuned 2 frets, then the neck is sitting back quite a lot compared to what it was before. So you'll probably find, if you check the tuning, you might still have to do a bit of tweaking, but if you're just kind of doing it roughly, then that should be okay. The notes, should you require the notes to detune to D standard, are the 2 outside strings, obviously a D. the A string has now become G, the D string has gone down to C, the G string has gone down to F, and the B string has gone down to A. So it's D, G, C, F, A, D. So that's for your reference if you want to check it with a chromatic tuner. Electronic tuners are always the best way to make sure your guitars are in tune, especially if you're in a band situation. You know, make sure everybody's tuned the same way. If you're on your own, if you're not particularly jamming to a record or anything like that, it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, I said any tuning that you do by ear is probably going to require just a little bit of tweaking once you've gone through that process. But anyway, that is the if you like, the old-fashioned way. You know, before we had electronic tuners, when we used to have to listen to notes and compare, you know, sounds and try and decide if the second sound is higher or lower than the first sound. That's how you do it. So, as always, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy me next time for some more pro guitar tips. Cheers.